When your legs don't work like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off of your feet, will your mouth still remember the taste of my love? Will your eyes still smile from your cheeks? Darling, I will.
Did you ever think that you'd see Ed Sheeran on Game of Thrones?
I never thought that I would see Ed Sheeran.
You heard that it was going to happen.
I did hear that it was going to happen.
And you thought, there's no way that they'd be so crazy. I mean, like, brother of pop star, fine.
Right.
We did pretty good on that, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a weird sort of sight, and they didn't give him it's got that same stupid haircut.
Yep.
You wouldn't ask an international singing star to be on your medieval show and ask him to cut his hair or do anything different, would you?
Why on earth would you think that?
Plus it's part of his look. Like, I guess if they shaved his head and you're like, who's that? Then there's no point in the stunt casting.
That's true.
But, and of course, he's singing as we see them, as Arya comes upon them in the scene.
Yes.
Is that spoilers?
Oh.
Arya meets Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
In the new Game of Thrones first
Spoilers.
episode, which is out today when we're recording this.
Yes.
Game of Thrones season 7 is back. I've got so many numbers in my head. I've got to remember 13. I've got to remember 7. I have to remember this is the 8th Wimbledon championship for Roger Federer. Forget doctors. We need a new Wimbledon champion.
Oh, my goodness.
We got to get rid of this guy. This guy can't be stopped. The Swiss make chocolate and clocks and a clockwork tennis player, apparently. This guy can't be stopped. Yeah, Game of Thrones back. What'd you think? I mean, let's not... people sometimes watch it after it came out. HBO Go. We don't want to hurt those people. So what'd you think without spoiling anything?
I enjoyed it. It was great.
That tells me nothing, except that you enjoyed it.
It was. I think they did a good job of it being exciting enough for the first episode back. It could have been more exciting, but I think they wanted to just give us a taste of what it's like and what everybody was doing.
Sure. They're setting the table.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that you always love the previously ons because suddenly you're seeing something from like a year ago, or more accurately, like 6 years ago or 6 seasons ago. And you're like, wonder if that's going to come back.
Exactly.
Wonder if we're going to see that guy again.
Right.
Or if we'll ever see that guy again.
I know, as the case may be.
Yeah, as the case may be.
Like the guy who the Lord of Light keeps bringing back.
Right.
I don't remember his name.
Beric Dondarrion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see him again.
Banners. Yes, of course. Well, I mean, we saw him near the end of the last season. But
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up being really important. And this is one of those things that you have to sort of... You can kind of give it to an epic world that we're going to lose track of characters sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're going to come back and you'll be like, oh, right.
That guy.
Thoros, was it? Of
right.
Mir, right? But then when they end up being like very pivotal, you're like, well, are they just... It's for me, it's like Longbottom in Harry Potter.
Uh-huh.
What's his name?
Oh,
Harold
my gosh.
or something Longbottom?
Neville,
there you go. Spoilers, I guess, but he ends up being like pretty important, like kills the snake or whatever, and he gets right in there, and it's like, what a turnaround. Yeah, but he's been a big joke for like 7 movies, and then suddenly he's like, what's up?
Right.
And I think that Beric is going to end up being really important, and we haven't seen him around, and he's not much of a character, so is that a good storytelling thing? Or everybody loves... I'm really going to miss on this one, but the little girl from Bear Island, lady, what's her name?
Yes, I know what you were talking
Everybody loves
about.
her, and sure, it's cool to have a little, like, 12-year-old girl, like, telling people what to do and kicking ass, but just showed up, like, last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at this point, once you've denuded, like, the cast of so many characters that we've known going forward before, maybe you need to do that, but there's some people that I'm really pulling for that I'm sure will be important, but I just want to see them kind of do important, amazing stuff. And not just bring in, I remember that guy from season 2. Oh, well, he's back.
Right.
Yeah. Look what he can do. Those are my very, very poor sort of complaints about Game of Thrones. But I was thinking about something as I was watching it tonight, and that's the fact that, they have a couple advantages. We've all complained about the kind of, it's a sexist world. Yeah, but the show's sexist sometimes, and that's not great.
Right.
But, it's adult, and they've got that advantage over something that's like for kids, like The Hobbit or arguably the Lord of the Rings films. But they've done it. They have when you sit down to watch this thing and you're like, the music starts and you're like, oh, what's going to happen? They've captured the epicness of something like the Lord of the Rings films, and they've done it on TV.
They have.
By spending about as much as you'd spend for one of those films.
Right.
But over the course of, a brace of episodes. And so I think the gauntlet's thrown down. Like, you look at the state of fantasy on TV, and it still sucks. And that's not to fault shows like Gallivant or, Legend of the Seeker or whatever, but we can do better. We can have fantasy on TV, and we can even have it on basic cable or on broadcast.
Right.
I think people need to just look at what these guys are doing. This show will be over one day. Split these people up,
Yeah.
Do the Jodorowsky's Dune thing. Pollinate the winds of change and art, and get these people in. Let's get some of this epic fantasy on broadcast TV.
Yeah,
or on
I
streaming,
agree.
or on Netflix or something like that. They've run the table now for years, but they will literally go away pretty soon. And so let's see that continue, and not just with Hob and Egg and Flip and Dip and whatever the proposed spin-off of Game of Thrones would be. Sure is right. I'm glad you agree. You agree a lot on the Just Enough Show podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, with my very agreeable co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
And we're here to talk about all the news that's fit to cast in the world of nerdy entertainment, fresh off of Convergence. Speaking of converging, we're at one of those times where it just seems like everything is happening at once.
Yes.
And there is so much news to report. And so we're going to do our best to sort of bring you the highlights of those newsies. I think that's correct. Don't break into song just yet, though. We'll start off with some sad news, sadly. It turns out that George Romero has died today at the age of 77.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Best known, maybe only known, at least by movie fans, as the guy that started the Living Dead series of movies with Night of the Living Dead in 1968. Wow. Yeah.
What did he pass away from?
From cancer, from lung cancer.
Goddamn cancer.
Yeah, cancer, not great. And you're definitely going to, when David Lynch goes, that's how he'll go. Because he doesn't care. I like smoking cigarettes.
Smoking like a chimney?
Well, yeah, he even managed to squeeze smoking on camera
in
the last episode of Twin Peaks. So, yeah, hopefully it's too bad and we'll miss George. But hopefully he'll be this is the last generation that will just die categorically from lung cancer. All those fictional characters on Mad Men, if they did an Animal House thing where we, see what happened, all die of lung cancer. Trudy, Pete, Don, Betty, they're all dying of lung cancer. And it's in real life, too. For Enterprising Individuals, Star Trek show, I often go through and research the performers and people that have been on some of the shows. And even they're dead, all died of lung cancer. All of them.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, just about all of them. But, yeah, that's it. So... that's bad. Also, this really gets me down. Martin Landau passed away today as well.
Oh, wow.
This day is a real bitch. So, yeah, famous actor of North by Northwest. Ed Wood, of course, Crimes and Misdemeanors, many, many other things. Mission Impossible, speaking of old Desi shows. Yeah. So that's just really too bad as well. He was 89. He was up there.
Yeah.
And he hadn't really acted. We hadn't really seen him in anything in a while, but it's too bad.
It is too bad. I wonder why some days are some.
Are you talking about trying to maybe graph when people die?
Yeah, that sounds really depressing, though.
Or famous people.
Famous people.
Okay.
Why some days are worse than others.
Sure. So, because I'm sure you could go to a hospital and just ask any on-duty nurse and be like, when do people kick off the most? I'm down here in the ER.
Sure.
Can I get your attention for 1 second? Extremely busy person covered in blood. When do people die most often? I'm sure there'd be an answer.
Probably.
But you're talking about going down to, UCLA Medical or just somewhere, in LA, and just asking them, like, when somebody really old comes in here, when they roll one of the Gabor sisters in here, like, what day is that generally?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm glad that their deaths could inspire us to think about it.
Oh.
Well, you took it there.
I sure did.
He was an Emmy nominated 5 times. I think his career sort of kind of resurged when Coppola put him in Tucker, Man in His Dream.
Okay.
And has just certainly been around a lot. Of course, worked with Woody Allen in Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Sure.
And was in Cleopatra. And so, yeah. It's too bad.
That is too bad.
And he'll be missed. I guess just hang on, because we're here to bring you all the celebrity deaths in Nerdy Entertainment.
Oh, stop.
But we do have a bunch of good news today. We'll be talking about D23.
That's the Disney...
The expo.
The expo.
Yeah, the Disney
thing.
Expo. Talking about that and some of the big news out of there. We're talking, of course, about Doctor Who, because there is some news there to talk about as well. And we start our special segment, 2 weeks of Charlize Theron, our 2-week show segment called Theron Back Again, where we're going to talk about the works and the career of Charlize Theron based around the upcoming release of her movie, Atomic Blonde.
Right.
Which, if you don't know, you're going to know in a little bit, was based off the graphic novel The Coldest City.
Yes.
Which we'll be talking about in our segment, Comic Book Club.
Yeah.
And then, of course, next week for Craft to Services, we'll just kind of spoil it right now. We're going to talk about one of Charlize's best films, or not. It is definitely one of her films.
Yes.
Out of all of her films, this is one of them. The movie Aeon Flux.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about the Aeon Flux cartoon as well.
Yeah.
Re-exposed to that after a long absence. What did you think of Aeon Flux, the cartoon? Give us a little preview.
It was interesting, weird, bizarre little nuggets of cartoon.
Little nuggets.
Yeah.
Don't go to work for McDonald's.
Okay.
Actually, McDonald's has chicken nuggets still, right?
Yeah.
Just like straight up little egg pods or little chicken pods.
Yes.
Okay. But then they have like chicken fingers though too, right?
Probably.
They must, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I see a lot of commercials for chicken McNuggets anymore.
I'm sure they're out there.
It just seems like it's the grossest. I know they're amazing. They're delicious, but it's like the grossest, weirdest food item that they could have.
I know.
But it's like their dirty little secret.
Yeah.
And they still got them.
Yep.
They've got, well, they don't have the Mulan Szechuan sauce, so that dropped off real fast. We were talking about getting that back.
We were.
I lost track of that. Did they get that back or not?
I don't know.
Anyway, just when I was growing up, that was their premier item. In fact, I don't know how old I am, but it might have been like when they were introduced. And it got so exciting because now we've got a sweet and sour sauce now. Oh, and then we added this, we added that. And yeah, it was such a big deal. And I feel like I don't hear about chicken McNuggets at all anymore.
I guess we have to be listening to broadcast TV or something like that in order to...
I like to turn off the picture and listen to broadcast TV. You're right. And through the static, you can hear chicken McNuggets. When was the last time you ate a chicken McNugget?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, after my long rant, it's...
Years ago.
Must have been 25 years for me.
Yeah.
It must have been at least 25 years.
It's... Seriously.
Since they had the Mulan sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't eat those. They're no good for you.
No.
Like Dawn, go away. I'm no good for you, they sing. But let's sing for our supper and talk about the news. So Disney's D23 Expo was this weekend. There's a lot of information about Disney properties. You know which ones we're talking about. We'll get to the good stuff, but let's just give you an item-by-item sort of line list of some of the things that they revealed about what's coming up in Disney films. There's a movie called The Speed Test.
Okay.
John Lasseter presented a short film called The Speed Test, and nobody knows what it is, really. Like, it showed like 2 jets sort of flying against each other, and it's sort of toony, like it's going to be a Disney Toon Studios production, but... Nobody knows if it's like a Planes sequel or something, but it's going to focus on the history of animation, and it will be through their animation studios.
All right.
So it's kind of a mystery. People don't really know what that is.
Huh.
But could be cool. In that vein, Toy Story 4
Wow.
Toy Story 4 is on the calendar.
I can't believe we're already at Toy Story 4.
So is it going to follow the little girl then who gets the toys?
I have no idea.
Andy's gone. Andy's out. He wanted too much money for college. So I guess, anyway, he's gone. Toy Story will be coming out July 21st of 2019. Still a little ways off. Wreck-It Ralph 2 will be coming out after the pretty popular first one.
Yeah.
Which was all right.
It was all right.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
You got Disney, and then you got like Pixar, Disney.
Yeah.
And I think one is definitely better than the other. But that'll be coming out in November of 2018. You also have a couple other sort of movies that they've promised. There's this picture of Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, standing in front of this huge thing, and there's a list of films, and it's just like Frozen 2, Incredibles 2, like all these movies are coming up in the next 2 years. Like Frozen is coming out late, like Christmas 2019, I think.
Okay.
Incredibles 2 is coming out June 15th of next year.
All right.
So that should be good. Apparently it's picking up right where the last one left off.
Okay.
So
no time has passed?
They have said it's picking up exactly where it left off.
Huh.
So I guess they're gonna fight the Underminer.
Okay.
And tell what's his name, the guy Cliff Clavin, to clear his pipes because you got to bring him back.
Yeah.
To do the voice for that. A Wrinkle in Time was showcased.
Okay.
If you want to see the trailer, it's on the internet right now, and you've seen it. What did you think about the Wrinkle in Time trailer?
I think it looks interesting. I actually never read the book, so I know. Throw me out of the ivory tower right now.
How did you never read the book?
I don't know. I never read the book.
It's not long.
I could read it.
Yeah.
Before the movie comes out.
Do it.
Yeah.
Let's get a review from you.
Okay.
All right, you're booked.
All right.
You're booked in the future for that.
Okay, sounds good.
As somebody who has read the book 1,000,000 times, yeah, I mean, I never saw Oprah Winfrey when I was reading the book, but I'm sure she'll be fine. They've really... So you've got Mindy Kaling, Reese Witherspoon, and Oprah Winfrey playing What's It, Who's It, and Wings It. And it's been a while since I read it.
Or whatever.
Well, they're not really witches, but yeah, they're super powered people. And it seems like Oprah's agent was like, Oprah's going to have gems all over her. And everybody else is like very basic. Oh, she's got red hair. All right, that's her design.
Right.
And it's like, we've got Charles Wallace. And she's like the full Oprah going in. So I don't know. She's a pretty good actress. I'm sure that'll be good.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. First of all, like the big bad guy's called It. That's going to have to change.
Yeah, that
Don't you think?
Seems like it's going to have to change.
Yeah, they're probably going to change that just because one of them's going to beat them. This one comes out in March of next year. It's so... They'll find... I'm sure they'll make one of the kids gay, or they'll find some way to complicate it. Because, don't get me wrong, for a book about... it's not really time traveling, but like space folding and giant brains that control entire planets and all this weird stuff. It's totally weird, but it's not... I don't feel like it's quite complicated enough. Okay. It was written in like 1963, and it's very much in the vein of that sort of heady, sort of intellectual, on the cusp, not totally counterculture, but like on the leading edge of counterculture.
Sure.
That would define like, Heinlein type sci-fi in the 60s, and later 70s. And I don't know if that will play today. Huh. Sure, you can stick Chris Pine in whatever, and you've got a movie that a lot of people want to see, but how old is he?
Chris Pine?
Yeah. He can't be over 40.
No. I bet he's around 35.
Well, I think he's probably late 30s. Anyway, the point is that the guy's beard goes prematurely gray, and now he can play a dad.
Yeah.
He's got it all. And then later he shaves the beard, and he can be in Top Gun 2 as like the new hotshot pilot out of the academy or whatever. Like that. Yeah, the guy's got versatility. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to this Oprah Winfrey movie. I never thought I'd hear myself say that. But you just got to believe. The cast of Guy Ritchie's live-action Aladdin has been announced. Will Smith will be the voice of the genie in the show. Mina Massoud will be playing Aladdin. Who's that? Nobody knows.
Okay.
So introducing Mina Massoud, new guy. And then Naomi Scott will be playing Jasmine. She was last seen in the Power Rangers movie, I believe. I don't know which Ranger, though. I have no idea. No Jedi, Last Jedi, that is, trailer, but they did show a behind-the-scenes film.
Okay.
That shows you a little bit of stuff. I watched it through like the split in my fingers because I don't want to be spoiled on a lot of this stuff.
Sure.
But there's some images. There's some things to see.
Okay.
Yes. Also, conspicuously absent, untitled Han Solo movie.
Yeah. You think that they would want to be pimping that out right now?
You would certainly think that.
Especially with all the news around it. You want to make sure that no, this is really going to be going off without a hitch.
Slap a Star Wars hat on Ron Howard.
Yep.
Because he's always wearing baseball caps. Send him out there.
Yep.
Have him, say, well, he might have shot first, but I'm going to finish the shooting. Okay, funny. We know we're in good hands.
Right.
Nothing. They're saying nothing. And this thing is supposed to come out in May of next year. So let's hope it hits that date. They'll hit it, right?
They'll hit it.
Yeah. It remains to be seen.
I hope so.
You think Lord and Miller were at home, like eating chicken with no shirt on a couch, like watching the thing and being like, Chuck Norris. Like, no, are you kidding? They're moving on to their million other projects.
Do you think that they're out of the house of Mouse, or do you think that they're just out of the house of Lucas?
Good question. Because they're producing. Oh, crap. Who owns the Lego? Oh, it's like Warner Brothers owns the Lego movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they'll just be like, screw it. We'll just do. Did they? I don't know anything. Did they produce? I thought they produced like Deadpool or something else.
I thought they did something else too.
Or something. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Maybe they'll just be screw it. We'll just do DC Lego films.
Sure.
And eat your lunch, Marvel. But Last Jedi comes out December 15th. Of course. Boy, oh boy. Did you know that Star Wars Episode 9 is supposed to come out May 24th of 2019?
That's crazy.
Summer movie. So, yeah, they're just pumping us full of this stuff. And speaking of being full of stuff, Avengers Infinity War is a comic book Marvel movie that is full of heroes.
Yeah.
And the people who went to this expo know that because they saw a preview video, a sizzle reel, if you will, of what the best parts, or at least what they've got done so far in Infinity War is. And unlike every other one of these expos at some point in the past, nobody has managed to leak this footage out.
Huh.
And in fact, you get the worst. So, huge tangent, makes sense in a sec. In cyberpunk novels, the works of William Gibson, par example,
sure.
There is something called ICE. It's Intrusion Countermeasures Electronics or something like that. And it's basically like a program. Like if you try to hack something and you're hacking the government data node or whatever, and you trip the wrong wire, it sends a signal back. And since your brain is plugged into the computer, it can fry your brain and kill you.
Okay.
Like it can reach out and strike you from a distance.
Sure.
That's what I want to do to these people who put these fake leaked trailer reveals on YouTube. You get these things now. They're looking for clicks. They know I'm searching leaked footage D23 Marvel Infinity War.
Right.
And you see in the thumbnail it's all black except for like a crooked screen that's far away. And you're like, that's somebody's snuck a cell phone in and they took some video.
Yeah.
Then you hit play and it's Rick Astley dancing around in a striped shirt, turtleneck. Or it's just they turned all the lights off in their room, their bedroom in their parents' house, and they're filmed their monitor from slightly to the side and away, and are just playing like still images of like concept art or something like that.
Oh my goodness!
It's like, what is the point? I'm just gonna give you the thumbs down when I see that.
Yeah, no kidding. They're just looking for clicks.
Yeah, but they're not people. They're not monetizing this, right?
I know.
I don't understand. Anyway, so. People have described, all the news outlets came out, Screen Junkies, everybody else came out and described what is in this footage.
Yes.
Like tales of old, like the old saga singers. We were only being told about the great things that happened. But apparently, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. The Guardians of the Galaxy meet Thor. They run into him, literally, with their ship. Thanos is in there, I guess, throwing people around. They're introducing the Black Order, which is like Thanos' like posse from the comics kind of recently, like guys like Corvus Glaive and these
all
other
right.
like cosmic beings. And they call them the Children of Thanos. So, and actually, we have seen some clips of some displays like from the show floor or whatever of like mock-ups of like statues of them, and they look Thanos-y. So I think they've sort of retconned or changed the story so that they're actually like children of Thanos. It seems to be a big father-son sort of theme in a lot of Marvel movies. Yeah.
He has a lot of kids.
Well, he does, and that's something that happens in the comics, but we don't know anything about his kids in the movies yet, right? There's no son of Thanos. I mean, he's got daughters.
He's got daughters.
His adopted daughters, yeah.
Yeah.
But these actually look kind of like them. We see Scarlet Witch in the Vision fight. Loki's there. We see Peter Parker. We see Captain America with a beard. A blonde Black Widow. And we see a lot of Thanos. And he's got a new costume. So here we are. Now we're like the saga singers of old, the Skalds. We are passing it on to you, listener.
That's right.
Since this is the freaking 21st century, you can just get on your old internet and you can look up some of these pictures, or at least read some of these descriptions. They're pretty cool.
So we found out today who the new Doctor Who is going to be.
I know.
It's the woman from Broadchurch.
Oh, tell me more.
But not Olivia Colman.
No!
Yeah. Yeah, so the wrong woman from Broadchurch.
You get so close. It's almost, if they had just said that it was Luke Perry, with Jenny Garth as his companion, that would be bad. But you get the guy next to the guy. You get exactly up to, every one of those words in that sentence was amazing until it wasn't Olivia Colman. And it's like, what? Why?
I know.
It's like sending someone to the store and they come back with baking powder and not baking soda. And it's like, that is 50% of what I asked for and 0% of what I can use.
Right.
While I'm making these biscuits.
Absolutely. Wrong ingredient.
Yeah. So anyway, okay, well.
Jodie Whittaker is her name.
Yeah, I know what her name is.
She's going to be the 13th Time Lord.
Yeah. He just died in January. Are we going to forget about John Hurt already?
Apparently
the show has a complicated relationship with itself. So, hey, still, groundbreaking, history-making, shake-and-baking. It's a big deal. It's a huge
big deal. We got a woman, so...
We got a woman.
Yay.
We do.
We did it.
Yes. So I think, was I talking to maybe online or Facebook or something like that? But I was saying that this is really great. It's not the actress I wanted from Broadchurch, but Chris Chibnall, who created Broadchurch and ran the show, who's now running Doctor Who, clearly feels comfortable with her.
Right.
So that's good. And a friend of mine said, well, we gave them David Tennant. They brought Jodie Whittaker right back. So that's how we're doing it. I've never seen her do anything except cry despondently in filmed media.
I haven't
either. From Attack the Block to her episode of Black Mirror. Every time you see her, she's like, oh no, please. So I'm not saying that she can't do more than that. All I'm saying is I'm glad that she will finally be given the chance as an actress to do more than that.
Yeah, I'd like to see her range.
Yeah, let's see her range. And I'm not saying that like implying that she doesn't have it. I'm just saying...
I don't think she's been given the chance to show her range.
Sure, if I was casting this, I would cast somebody whose range I had seen and I had proof of. But I'm sure this will be a chance for her to show us what she's got as a performer.
Yeah. Show me what you've got.
You did it for me. Exactly.
Yeah.
And, of course, the fact that she's a woman is huge. So are they going to flip it? Is the companion now going to be a boy?
I say yes.
Me too. And you know who they're going to get? I think they're going to get a John Boyega type.
I would like that.
Because those two work so well together, crying aside, in Attack the Block.
Sure.
That I bet they're like, get that... Oh, no, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
He's a superstar now. We'll never get him.
Sorry.
Find us a Boyega type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hanging out with a guy that looks kind of like Oscar Isaac.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what they should do. How hard should they lean on her being a woman? Just for the sort of ins and outs of what
I don't think they should lean on it too much.
Should it be completely straight-faced? Or should they get out a couple bra jokes or something like that?
They can get out a couple bra jokes and like, oh, I got boobs now or something like that.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's keep trying. Here, we'll write the first scene and show them how bad it is so they won't have to do it, okay?
Okay.
So, right, the door opens. I know that's Sherlock. Anyway, and then she's like, so, what do you think? I know. It's bigger on the inside. And the Boyega type's like, What, you got so many bras? Huh? Camera turns around, and they're all strung up, of this over the console, this way, that way. She's like, they take a long time to draw, you got all different sizes. She's like, I've never had boobs before. I just went into a Marks and Spencer and said, give me the lot. Something like that.
I like it.
Now we don't have to do that. That'll never have to happen. And she'll just start saving the universe. And we don't care whether she's a girl or not.
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's what I think.
Well, I'm asking you as a woman, as we try to get out of this gracefully, do you want her to not identify as a woman, but we've got this character who, and just ignoring for a second the idea, I mean, they could go really deep if they want. They could explore transgenderism. They could explore all this stuff that they probably don't want to explore or are afraid to on a kid's show.
Right.
But do you want to see, because she spent 50 years as a man and now she's a woman, do you want to see her explore being a woman a little bit?
I would like to see that a little bit.
Or
yeah,
do you just want
absolutely.
to see her be the heroic doctor and do the thing? Because I'm split, and I would take either, or I could leave either. Well, I can't leave her saving the universe, as she does, but... So I'm interested, as a friend of mine, I say friend, an acquaintance, author Dave Galanter, was talking about this on Facebook. And he said that he was really resistant because, and it's not because he's not a sexist, but because he was like, this person's just, I know that they can change their faces or whatever, but this character's been a guy for like 50 years. And so we've seen the universe through his perspective.
Yes.
And then I stopped myself. I'm speaking as Dave now. I stopped myself and just suddenly the whole world flipped around, and I was like, and 50% of the audience would probably like to see it from their perspective.
Yeah.
And this is, not James Bond or something. This is a character who can literally do that. Why are we not taking advantage of that?
Well, and I think that's
Let's
what
do that.
The argument has been for a long time for why is there a female doctor, and because there absolutely was no reason why the doctor couldn't be female. And
right, well, and especially now with things that they've established in canon.
And that's what was so
yeah.
frustrating why Moffat was resisting against it.
Yeah, we can talk about the James Bond thing. Like, why not have a Jane Bond movie? I don't care. Sure, fine. If it's good, I'll watch it. I don't care. But I would argue that as we get farther and farther away from the Cold War and, sexism, maybe that character can only be a man because it's
right.
He's being mean to women and he is a man in the Cold War, which, hang on, we're going to talk about that in a second.
Right.
So maybe flipping it wouldn't make any sense. And why not just start like a new, if you want to do
why
like a
not
female,
just have
how about a Black Widow movie?
Spy movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called a Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
But this, like you were saying, is a perfect example because it even fits the character. It's perfect.
It does fit the character.
And they finally taken those cues that we've been screaming for years, and they're doing them. And so I don't care. They could have cast Brie Larson. Ooh, careful. And I wouldn't care. I'd be happy about it. So this is a really good thing.
I'm happy that...
And the first time she stumbles, I'm going to crucify her. No, I'm just...
Stop.
Jeez.
I'm happy that they cast a woman. I hope that... that she really grows in the role, and I hope that she grows on me as well.
You don't like her?
I'm kind of indifferent towards her as an actress.
Well,
but
okay,
I haven't
right.
seen her full range.
We don't want to dip back into that. We don't want to dip back into that.
Yeah.
I'll just say, and tell me if you agree or don't, and then we can just get right out of here. Everything I talk about, she just cries and everything. Every role I've seen her in has been... she got like her big debut in like Venus with Peter O'Toole.
Okay.
Where she is cast as this young girl / woman, who is like this paragon of like fresh womanhood to Peter O'Toole, who's dying. Then she plays the mother of a child.
Yeah.
In the only good Black Mirror episode, she plays specifically a wife, an unfaithful wife.
Yes.
And so all defined by men or her female biological role.
Yes.
That's why it's so cool for her to play the doctor, and why I hope they don't go too far down the she's a lady now thing, because it's just a chance for her to save the universe.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter.
I agree.
But 50 years of being a dude,
We have to have a little bit of
We can have a broad joke.
We have to have a little bit of exploring that because it is a big difference.
Yeah. Set in Berlin during the last days before the wall was torn down, the coldest city revels in the paranoia, mistrust, and corruption boiling over at the epicenter of the Cold War, where loyalty is the first casualty of survival and honor is a rare luxury.
Dun-dun.
What was that?
I don't know.
You were talking about The Coldest City. It is written by Anthony Johnston and illustrated by Sam Hart. Who are those people? I'm glad you asked. I don't really know. I know that Sam Hart did like a Judge Dredd story. He's a guy who has not worked in with a lot of major publishers. Anthony Johnston has done some stuff for Marvel. He did a Dead Space book, like a adaptation of the video game.
Sure.
And so they're fringy guys. They're not like mainstreamy guys, and I think that it fits a book like this perfectly because this is not really a mainstreamy book.
No, it's not.
Can you tell me what happened? Oh, I should say Coldest City was published by Oni Press. There's actually a prequel to it called The Coldest Winter as well.
Oh, okay.
What happens in The Coldest City?
The Coldest City is about a spy who has to go to Berlin during the Cold War.
It's a very special time in the Cold War.
Yes.
It is. When is that time? I'm trying to prompt you.
I believe it's 1989-ish, or no, maybe not. Like the wall is about to come down, right?
Yeah. How old are you again? Yes. November 9th, 1989, when the Berlin Wall came down.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So it was about when the wall was about to come down.
Yeah, right. That is a pivotal part of the story.
Yes. And she has to go investigate some things that are going on over there.
Want me to take over?
Yeah.
Okay, I will. So one of the people, she works for MI6.
Yes.
Her name is Lorraine Broughton. Yes, Lorraine Broughton. And she works for MI6. One of the guys that runs like their office in East Berlin is dead, has been killed.
Right.
One of two. There's two guys. They're called like BEC 1 and 2. And one dies, so she's got to go talk to the other one. And they send her, because she's a new face. She can speak a little German. She's an experienced operative, but they send her to like go find out what was going on. Also because this guy was killed and this list is missing.
The list of all the operatives.
Yeah, it's like a knock list.
Berlin.
It's like Mission Impossible. Yeah, list of like MI6 operatives, CIA operatives, Mossad operatives. Like, it's damning and bad for everybody. And so she's got to go over there, try to find out what happened, and recover this list if she can. And she gets there, and things aren't super great.
No.
She immediately clashes with the agent who runs the office there. He's very kind of old school, 60s Cold Warrior type guy.
Yeah.
And a little sexist to boot.
Yes.
And so she's having trouble sort of connecting with him. She's trying to get information from people. And she meets a guy who's like this French guy who like owns a restaurant. And she's like, what's this guy's deal? She doesn't really trust him. Turns out that he's a French intelligence operative who's been keeping an eye on the situation. They later on meet an American, like attaché, who is talking to the British guy because CIA, of course, is concerned about this list as well. So now the Americans are involved. And she finds herself in the middle of this kind of knot of intrigue, all at the same time that the intelligence community seems to know that the wall is going to come down.
Yes.
Nothing was really agreed or posted. It just sort of, happens. But they're all fairly sure this is going to happen, and they all have different attitudes about that. And so some of them think, well, this is it. This is the end of history. This is the end of spycraft. We'll all be out of a job. And some not. Some think, well, let's get what we can out of this in a sort of third man kind of exploit the chaos situation.
Right.
And all of this takes place within a frame story where this has all happened already. and Lorraine is being brought in front of her MI6 handlers or her bosses to talk about what happened. So this is being related in flashback the entire time, which is very noir-y. It's very spy movie-ish. It's very much on point for the genre.
Yeah. It's the drawings are in black and white by and large.
The whole thing's in black and white.
Which lends itself very well to the noir feel.
Yeah.
And she doesn't she kicks ass in her own way, but it's not as much kicking of ass as in the Atomic Blonde.
Yeah, so you're connecting this to Atomic Blonde already.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people who see Atomic Blonde and go looking for the source material are going to be very surprised and possibly disappointed.
I agree, because they're not very similar.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen the film yet. That's kind of why we're doing
true.
this. But yeah, what we've seen of the film, this is, like you said, very indie comic, very simply drawn, black and white. And Atomic Blonde goes, oh, 80s? 80s? Woo! I want to know how you're feeling. And it's just neon everywhere, splashed across everything.
Right.
And yeah, and then like many people getting stabbed in the throat.
Right.
I think she shoots like one guy in this one.
Yes.
Because I can't even remember who she shoots. Like in self-defense, she shoots a guy. That's kind of a problem with this. It's very twisty. I don't know if you've ever read any like Tom Clancy novels or any Jean Le Carre novels or anything like that, but it is very much in the vein of that. It is an old school Cold War sort of parable brought to life in this. And we are talking spoilers, as we usually do on Comic Book Club, so beware of spoilers. I think from here on out we'll talk about spoilers. I thought that the way that it uses the setting is it uses it well. As somebody who has read a lot of Tom Clancy novels and Jean Le Carre novels, I think that it really inhabits that world well. I recognize that from these other things that I've read, and I think it's fitting that if you look at like some of the plugs and blurbs, like on the book cover, like Greg Rucka is like right up there.
Right.
They just clearly went, oh, strong female protagonist, intrigue. Let's see if Greg Rucka likes this.
Sure.
And he says, yeah. He says he does. What's he going to say? We wouldn't read his comment if it didn't. If it wasn't good.
Positive.
That being said, not a lot happens in this.
No, there's not a lot of action. Period. And there's.
Yeah, which is surprising that they would take it and turn it into like a balls out
action film.
Borny, female borny, but does she talk about having bras? Female born sort of action type thing.
Right.
Green grass, shaky cam, the whole way.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that it definitely suffers in the comparison. There's a long tradition in these sort of noir or even spy stories of the main character not doing a whole lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you watch Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Gary Oldman just kind of hangs around for the entire movie, and then he kind of does the right thing at the exact right time near the end of the film, and everything's fine.
Right.
Or Philip Marlowe just sort of talks to some people, gets beat up once or twice, pulls a gun on Peter Lorre, and then they tell him, I'll tell you the whole story, and then like that's the whole film. It's like a lot of action. This is definitely in the vein of that, and I guess I have to give it to Johnston for not succumbing to like, oh, I got to put a lot of F words in there. We got throwing people off of buildings and stuff like that. Like these people, aren't Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like they're not a True Lies spy. They're real spies.
Right.
And there are situations. I like the attention to detail with little things like she knows that she might run into trouble, so she finds this guy to get her a gun, and it's not the kind of gun she wants. Like she really wants like a specific kind of gun, and the guy's like, I can't get that kind of gun. I don't have that.
Right.
I just get these from like old police, stores or something like that. Or she meets with this other guy, and she's meeting him because he's brought some other guy to her. She takes this guy and goes off, and then this whole thing happens, and like that guy gets killed, and she comes back, and the guy's still there, and she's like, "Oh, you're still here?" He's like, "Well, you told me to wait. We didn't see that. That was like her doing some tradecraft, like stay here so I can reconnect with you if something goes wrong." And all these operatives kind of know this shorthand, and Johnson doesn't take a lot of time to ram it down your throat. The flip side of that is, you find yourself lost a lot of the time. You have to write a lot of the names down and stuff like that and kind of really pay attention to where you are.
Yeah, it's hard because it is like this kind of windy story, and it kind of seems to cover some of the similar tracks. And you're like, wait, she talked to this guy, and I thought is that the same guy as she talked to before?
And that was a problem with the art is so simplistic that if she's talking to one guy with a mustache and there's another guy in the mustache in the book, I don't know which guy she's talking to.
Right.
And that's a problem. And then at one point there's a guy with a mustache who shaves his mustache, and I'm like, oh, we're screwed now. True story. Let's talk about the main character.
Okay.
We're talking about ladies in a man's world. That's this entire show. What did you think about her?
I thought she was great. She was defiant, and she stuck up for herself, and but I kind of wonder if there was a little action in this because it is about the Cold War, and so they decided for it to be more realistic.
Atomic Blonde, it's going to be a hot war.
Yeah.
It's going to be real hot.
Exactly.
As far as I understand, and we can talk about this next week when we have our review of Atomic Blonde, setting will be exactly the same. It'll be in 1989 in Berlin.
Okay.
Only with McAvoy in there.
Right.
As which character? There aren't a lot of parallels here.
I don't know which character.
And specifically about the parallels. Well, let's wrap up talking about the character of Lorraine. Knowing what you know at the end, nice little twist ending, unmotivated, I thought. The problem with having a very passive protagonist who has, before the story started, done certain things to set things in motion, but then just kind of sits there while everybody talks, and then at the very end, there's a little twistingy ending where you find out what's really going on.
Right.
So we can do this without spoiling it. The fact that she didn't do anything throughout the entire story makes you go, well, what was the point of that? Yeah. Now we're going to spoil it. Were you acting incompetently in order to not up your own plan?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, I had trouble reconciling her actions within the frame story with what we found out the truth was later on.
Right. And
we don't ever, because that has to be a secret. I hate the more twists that happen to me, the more I hate them, because you have to sacrifice so much storytelling just to keep a twist a secret.
That's true.
And so we get that twist at the end, but it's never motivated by anything that I really got. I mean, she apparently met and fell in love with this guy at some point.
Apparently.
But we don't really get a lot of that throughout the story. It's just them jerking off in Berlin.
Right.
Would you recommend The Coldest City?
I don't know that I would. I want to like the story more than I did.
Too cold.
It's just
ice baby.
Yeah. It's just a little, I would say it's a little on the confusing side for me, to wholeheartedly recommend.
Yeah. I've also often find when I read spy fiction and I get confused, I just keep going because that sense of disorientation and double cross is part of it. It's supposed to be.
True.
Like when you watch Inception and you're like, okay, how many dreams are there? And they're making staircases, and it's okay to get lost because that's how the characters feel.
Right.
So I wouldn't discredit it or discount it because of that.
Okay.
I would recommend this. We always we should just have up or down, on or off, yes or no. But I will temper it a little bit. I mean, if you like spy fiction, if I've been talking about this and you are a fan of Greg Rucka or Jean Le Carre or whatever, and that stuff sounds good to you, then yeah, I think that you're definitely going to want to check this one off your list. It's not the best. I'm not sure if it adds a lot to the genre, but you don't see stuff like this much anymore. Even when you see like Warren Ellis is doing James Bond comics now, there's an element of that, but it's really kind of more James Bond.
Right.
He's got a car that's a boat or whatever. I would recommend, we'll do our alternate recommendations. I would say Ed Brubaker's Velvet.
Okay.
If you want a story about a female spy who is up to her eyeballs in intrigue and she's getting it done, Velvet would definitely be the way to go.
I would agree.
Before we wrap up talking about Coldest City, I want to mention one thing. We've already got into a lot of hot water in terms of discussing issues and stuff like that. So I wanted to get to this. We haven't seen the film yet, and we will have a review of the film once it comes out. Mm-hmm. It'll be because it comes out like the 28th. So actually, it's three weeks of Charlize Theron back again.
There we go.
We're gonna Jackson it. Why do 1 or 2 when you can do 3? But I want to talk about. It seems like in the film, what's her name? The mummy lady is going to be playing. Sofia Boutella is going to be playing a character that Charlize Theron's character has a connection with. According to the dialogue in the thing, she is the French agent. So I am assuming that she is the version
French
of
agent.
Yeah, of the character that's in the graphic novel.
Right.
So instead of Lorraine having a relationship with a French man, she's having one with a French and Algerian woman.
Right.
Is this gay washing? Did I make up gay washing?
You may have made up gay washing.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I think that's okay to change a character to be gay, and also you're changing a character to be a woman as well.
Sure.
I think that's all right. It brings more diversity to the cast, that's for sure.
Sure.
Whereas before it was just Lorraine who was the only woman.
Which was kind of part of the point and theme of her being the only woman.
Right.
I agree with you, except when I see a movie with a trailer, 10 seconds of which is like a lesbian makeout scene.
Well, there is that.
And it's like, nothing wrong with that, but it is clearly co-opted for marketing purposes.
Yes.
It is, hey, all you cucks out there who are mad that Charlize Theron was the star of a Mad Max movie, now you can watch her come get it on with a chick.
Right.
Where she belongs, in bed with another woman.
Right.
Like, am I out on a limb here?
No, you're not. You have a really good point, and I think that they are probably trying to maximize the marketing material here. Sex sells.
A wise man said that there's a fine line between genius and stupid, and there's a fine line between eroticism and exploitation.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with it, but it's just clearly being used for this kind of scummy purpose,
Yes.
and it makes me feel
a little dirty.
bad, and like I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
And if, I swear to God, if we see the new Doctor step out of the shower on the TARDIS, and like put a towel on, come on.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Although it would be payback for Matt Smith in a towel. The lodger. So anyway, yes, The Coldest City. We'll have a review of Atomic Blonde in the future, like we said. Let's talk real fast. We're talking about 2 weeks from now on Comic Book Club. This is not the only big thing that's coming out. We've got another comic book movie that's coming out soon. It's going to be huge. It is Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
Right.
From Luc Besson.
Yeah.
A lot of French going on in this show.
Yes.
Feels good. Like it. Get some croissants in here. Delicious. And so for that, we are going to read some Valerian comic books. It, of course, comes from a comic book called Valerian or Valerian and Laureline in the French style. And I thought that we would check out the first volume of Valerian comic books subtitled The City of Shifting Waters.
Okay.
It's an early adventure by Valerian and Laureline in the 26th century, or no, I think the 28th century. Way in the future. So we're checking that out. Comics in the French style next time on Comic Book Club. Oh, comic books. Comic books, everything's comic books. Let's talk about what's coming up in Craft of Services next week on the show. A little bit ahead of the release of Atomic Blonde, we did want to check out another Charlize Theron movie, and the one that we went to was, of course, a bad one.
That's right.
Although we'll talk about her career and her life a little bit on the next show. I was looking through her resume. There's some bad movies on there.
Yeah, there are.
Maybe not scored bad, because that's sort of our criteria. It has to be safely within or below 49%.
Yes.
On Rotten Tomatoes, and Aeon Flux at 10% accomplishes that with flying colors.
Absolutely.
We've been talking about females in Hollywood, women in Hollywood, and so I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about the current, probably right at the top of the heap as far as female performers go, Charlize Theron, and interestingly enough, one of the first films by Karen Kusama, who is a female director who is certainly respected now. 2005, post Aeon Flux, maybe not so much. And so we'll be talking about that a little bit and kind of, what it means to have a female blockbuster then to now, and maybe where that movie went wrong.
Right.
And we're hoping to have a review of Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets.
Yes.
From a film that is obsessed with the depiction of a woman as a hero and a deconstruction of that to French people like sexy ladies. Oh, aliens. We'll see how sensitive Valerian is going to be. I have a feeling not really.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
I have a feeling it's not going to be very sensitive either.
Yeah.
And we might be in some trouble.
Who knows? Maybe Rihanna will stop the movie halfway through and give us like an important lecture about respect, but I kind of doubt it. John Goodman is the narrator of that film.
Wow.
This is how much trouble we're in.
That is a lot of trouble.
So, looks beautiful. Not really a lot going on inside, I think.
I think that you might be right. It's like a snow globe, like a really pretty snow globe.
Yeah, maybe. What is that stuff in snow globes?
I don't know.
It's just little bits of plastic?
I think so.
Boy, don't drink the water.
Oh, no. Don't do that.
You can't drink that.
Uh-uh.
Drink our water. Terrible. The worst one yet. On social media, you can go to Facebook or Twitter and search for Just Enough Trope, and you can find us there. Sign up and follow us. Comment on us. Tell us what you think. Tell us what your favorite Cold War story is. The Hunt for Red October. That's a Cold War story.
Okay.
That's probably my favorite. Book or movie? Both. Answers both. Although only one of them has some things in here don't react well to bullets. So that's why I like one more than the other. Follow us there. You can also find us on iTunes if you search for Just Enough Trope. On iTunes, you can find our show page. When you get there, subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you would give us a review, we'd appreciate that as well, because we like hearing how you think we're doing. We like to hear some suggestions you have for the show, what you'd like to hear in the future, what you'd like us to cover. It's up to you. And give us a rating. Super, super duper important. You need to give us a high rating, because that's how we move up in the ranks. And we get people to get more exposure to us. We can reach out to people, bring them what they want to hear. Everybody gets what they want. So I'd say give us 5 Charles Wallaces! Is it a good Oprah, or do you know want to?
Yes.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be.
I think it is.
Give me your Oprah.
Tom Cruise is here.
I knew she was going to have a New York accent.
Yeah, okay.
All of your impressions have a New York accent.
Really?
Yes. Do Nikita Khrushchev.
I don't know who that is.
Do Marcel Marceau.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay, all right. Do Mark Wahlberg.
Say hello to your mother for me.
See, I put it right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah,
That's
you did.
how we work together. So anyway, if you'd like to avoid more of that, give us 5 stars. Not holding you hostage or anything, but we'd appreciate it. I think that's pretty much it for now. Like I said, we are going to be talking about Aeon Flux, which is available Netflix or Amazon Prime. You can definitely check that out if you want to. Be careful. Be careful as you do, because there are fruit that shoot needles at you. There are razors in the grass.
That's right.
In this film and in watching this film. Little spoiler, not as bad as people say, but not great. And we'll be talking about why not on the next show. So join us for that. And I think that's it for now. We're going to sign off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.